Should you buy or sell a home in 2026? What has happened in 2025? And we will also discuss data-driven factors which can impact the housing market of 2026. My name is Harp Sani and I'm a real estate agent in Greater Sacramento and surrounding counties. So let's first do the recap for 2025. As per Redfin data, the average house price has increased by 1.03% year over year if we compare it to last year. The median house price is sitting around $439,846. So this is the national average. It could be different in your local market. So my local market is the Greater Sacramento and surrounding counties, and what we have seen here is the pricing has almost remained same as last year, but the inventory has increased a lot. We have been seeing a lot of new homes coming into the market for sale, and days on market has also increased. Normally it's taking around 60 to 70 days to sell a property, even though the pricing hasn't changed a lot, but that has made a big difference on the resale homes. The houses which have been put on sale by the owners are taking hard time to sell. The reason they don't have enough incentives to compete with the builders, and at the same time, if they have bought in last 3 years, they are already under the water. For the buyers, it's even hard to buy the homes because the interest rates are still pretty high. So that has kept the Greater Sacramento real estate market very stagnant. The deals are still happening, but it's taking time. The buyers are taking time. They have a lot to choose from. The builders are giving super crazy incentives. So most of the buyers are getting attracted to those homes. Even though the inventory has improved, but in Sacramento, we're sitting around 2.5 to 3 months of inventory. So if the no new homes comes in 3 months, so we will be out of the homes to sell. Which is not really a good news. So if we think about those factors, it's still a seller's market, because normally in the real estate language, this is how we check if it's a seller or the buyer's market. We will see the months of inventory left, and then we will say if it's a seller or buyer. But with only 2.5 to 3 months of inventory, that says it's a seller market. But in reality, it's not even a seller market. The reason there are not enough buyers, houses are not selling over the listing price. There are no multiple offers. Few homes are taking months to sell. Days on market on average has increased a lot just compared to the last year. All those points, if we think about that, it's not even a seller market either. And it's not even a buyer market. To be true, buyers are at a better position because of all happening. They really have a chance to get incentives, to find a home which they love, a lot of inventory to choose from, which was not happening in past few years. In Sacramento, the days on market has increased to 35 from 23, but in the Central Valley, the San Joaquin County, Manteca and Lathrop are the major cities there, which have been seeing a lot of boom in past few years. They have been declining really bad as well. The days on market has increased up to 50 days there in those cities. On average, they are seeing from somewhere around 2 to 3% rate cut if you compare it to the past year. Reason there was first, the market, slow market, because the highest population of buyers in San Joaquin especially was the people from the trucking industry, and we have seen how the trucking industry has been hit hard. And another very important factor which we need to consider from 2025 is interest rates. When the interest rates started going up around 2022, people were still buying the homes thinking they're gonna come down and we will refinance. Interest rate at their peak were around 7.6, 7.7%, which was around year 2023. They have definitely came down if you compare to that. Now we are sitting on 6.1%, but if you think about 2022, we are still not under 6%. So in past 3 years, most of the people who bought home haven't refinanced yet. But if it's gonna happen in 2026 or not, that's a question. And we will discuss this while we started discussing market prediction is looking like for 2026, and we will discuss the mortgage, interest rates, and other factors. But for now, for 2025, the mortgage interest rates been above 6%, so therefore a lot of buyers are still sitting sidelines waiting for just to get qualified. Most of them are not able to qualify for the loans for the homes they like because of the debt to income problem. So my mortgage interest rates were one of the biggest reasons. The second biggest reason is home pricing. The pricing is still pretty high. Even though the pricing are stable if compared to the past few years, they haven't really grown in this year, but they haven't even came down. Sellers still, are not desperate enough to sell their homes. The reason, most of the sellers or the owners are sitting sub 4% interest rates. Most of them have refinanced around the 2020 2021 market when interest rates were crazy low, and their monthly payments are so low that they don't even want to sell their home. So most of the sellers have house payments so low that it makes more sense for them to rent their home out rather than putting it out for sale in case they really need to sell it. The people who want to downsize or upsize are still waiting because the affordability has so bad, and their payments gonna see a big rise in case they end up moving to the new home. So they are just waiting as well, because right now it's not about luxury, it's more about affordability. Anyone who is, who want to buy a house or sell a house for a luxury purposes, or for the lifestyle change, are just sitting on sideline waiting for interest rate to come down. So once again, they can think about selling their sub 4% interest rate home and buy another one around the similar interest rate. Even though the inventory has improved a lot, but it is still a big issue. We still do not have a crazy inventory build up like 2008 or 2009 recession. So a lot of people who think that 2008 housing recession gonna come again really have to keep that in mind, that inventory is still limited. Mostly, especially in these counties I'm discussing it, we only have around 2 to 3 months of inventory, which is really very low, and not a lot of people are distressed. In 2008 2009, what we need to understand, a lot of people were distressed because getting a loan was really very easy. But if someone has bought a home recently, they would understand how hard it is to get a loan in today's market. Lenders are very strict about giving you the loan. They do their best to make sure that you won't default on the loan, which has really decreased the foreclosures, and thus we don't have a flood of inventory hitting the market. Another thing which we need to keep in mind is foreclosure. The foreclosures, even though they are increasing, but historically they are still all-time low. The reason, again, same. Only people who are getting distressed in today's market is the one who bought a houses after 2022. But now think about it, how many home buyers could be there who have bought a house in this last 3 years, and out of that small percentage, how many could be distressed? Even let's say the 30 or 40% of all the 100% are distressed because of all the economic conditions, layoffs happening, people losing jobs, businesses are slow. But still, that's not a big enough chunk to put a dent on this whole market and bring a lot of foreclosures to the market. So that is something we need to understand anytime we talk about today's market and we compare it to 2008 market. People somehow thinks it's gonna happen, but chances of that happening is low. And another major factor which has made a market slow is change in the government. Trump government came in, a lot happened about the tariffs. Around the month of April, all of the markets were all-time low because of the tariffs, and the predictions around that. But then the market spiked up after that when they see that it's not really changing a lot. Especially we saw a boom in the stock market after that. But there are reasons behind it. Is people don't want to put their money in the assets like real estate, where the money will be stuck for a while. So people want to have a cash around and only want to invest from where they can have access to their liquidity easier. For example, stocks, anytime they can take out. Crypto, people are investing in crypto too. But not a lot of investors are investing in real estate. Reason, again, affordability. People are, even if you pay a 20% down and get a cash property, you won't even be breaking even from the rent. You might be paying out of your pocket and forgot about the cash flow. And how long this gonna stay this way is, again, a questionable. So most of the investors are just sitting on the sidelines when it comes to real estate, and that has also impacted the market. So this was the recap for 2025, how the market has moved, how the mortgage interest rates have been. But now we need to discuss how the market is gonna be next year. So when it comes to 2026 housing market, the first thing we need to talk about and discuss is the mortgage interest rates. Are they gonna be up or low? So to understand the mortgage interest rate, first we need to understand how mortgage interest rates work. So the mortgage interest rates are proportional to two factors. The first one is Fed's rate cut. So when it comes to the mortgage interest rate cuts, it's directly related to treasury yields. It's not directly related to the rate cuts by Feds, but it's indirectly related to that. The reason, anytime Feds do the rate cuts, more investors, they started feeling more confident about the market and started investing into the treasury bonds. This video is not about a treasury bonds. I want to keep it short. So let's, for your information purpose, these are the bonds which government sells to generate money which they can use to cover the deficit between the taxes and the total expense. When they give you this money, they also promise you the yield, like they will give you the interest rate or the return for that money you're investing into them. And those yields, they are directly proportional to the mortgage interest rate. Anytime those yields go up, the mortgage interest rate goes up, and anytime the yield go down, the mortgage interest rates go down. So now two things are happening in the economy. The first thing, quantitative easing. The Feds are looking to start printing money again so they can, ease the market, so they can start investing into the asset classes again. And treasury bond is one of those asset classes. There's a basics about treasury bonds and how treasury bonds are connected to treasury yields. Anytime the demand for treasury bond increases, the government don't have to pay you that much to attract you to invest into these bonds. So that's how the treasury bonds and treasury yields have been set up. But with the quantitative easing happening, Fed's investing again into the assets, there are high chances that the yield's gonna come down. And the second factor is the job market. Job market has seen the highest job cuts in past 2 decades. Just the month of November has seen around 32,000 layoffs, which is a really big number if we compare it to the past few years. Anytime the economy started saying this kind of a job cuts, the Feds try to help the economy by lowering the interest rate so business can again start getting the loans so their business can improve and they eventually can hire more people. So this means we are expecting more rate cuts in coming months, especially in this December one. There are also high chances it's going to happen January next year. I'm not sure how the rate cuts going to look like after that, because it's again going to depending on other economic factors. But for now, we're very positive the interest is going to come down. So these are the two factors proves that there are high chances the interest is going to come even lower where we are at this year and coming year. The third factor is Fed's chairman Jerome Powell. This is his last year of his term, and he most likely will be replaced in coming May. So I think they're still not sure who's gonna be a new chairman, but the way President Trump has been vocal about decreasing the interest rate, I'm pretty sure he's gonna try to put someone there who will be agreeing with him and cutting the interest rates down. That happens, those three factors will be a really solid factors which can bring the interest rates down in 2026. Now let's talk about the pricing. If the mortgage interest comes down, there are high chances we might gonna see a slight increase in the pricing. The reason, again, the inventory. Even though the inventory has improved, we are still sitting not even close to what we used to have in 2018 or 2019. So the number is still very low when it comes to inventory. So in normal market, we have around 1.5 million to 1.7 million homes for sale, which means around 4 to 6 months of inventory out there to select for the buyers. In the bad market, like for past few years, we have seen this number as low as 850,000 homes. So there was a huge gap. Fortunately, the gap has been getting better. Right now, we are sitting around 1.1 to 1.2 million homes. Which means we have around 3 to 3.5 months of inventory nationally, which is better than past few months. But if you compare to the norm of 4 to 6 months, we are still pretty low. Now think about if the mortgage interest started coming down, more buyers gonna come to the market, and inventory won't improve that much. With the prediction so far, they're expecting the interest rates to be in high fives by end of next year, which is not that far out from where we are today. Today we are sitting around 6.2%, but it will definitely help more buyers to qualify. That half percent is going to make a big difference on the buyer side. So now more buyers adding into the market and less homes coming to the market, there are going to be a chances that the pricing might gonna go high a little bit. So mortgage will be decreasing definitely, pricing most likely will be increasing. The number in your local market, it can be different definitely, because a lot of factors involved when we are looking at local market, like the weather doesn't remain same throughout the country. similar way, the local market conditions are not same through the country. Even in tourist market, the cities like Detroit or Michigan have been seeing a boom in real estate because of affordable homes. But at the same time, places like California have been seeing a decline because of unaffordable housing pricing. And now let's talk about California, because that's my local market, and especially the greater Sacramento. The listings are still almost 30% below where we were at around 2018, 2019. The months of inventory is around 2 months, which is not good at all when it comes to the supply, which actually makes this a seller market. In case affordability gets better, that will definitely push the market towards the seller market. A lot of new construction happening in Placer County, in Sacramento County. So a lot of new homes are hitting the market, and they have been giving us great incentives and also great interest rates. So that has been attracting a large pool of buyers, and that's why the houses are still selling. The buyers are still able to find a good deals. I won't say that the market is stopped at all, even though the days on market has increased for the resale homes. But if we talk about the new homes, the market is pretty hot. And if the new homes kept on doing what they are doing, and at the same time mortgage interest rates come down, there are high chances with a limited inventory out there, the resale homes might gonna be selling at a better pricing as well, and days on market can improve as well, because right now the problem is affordability. But by next year, if the things starting getting clear in the economy, the tariffs will have a better picture, and if the job market started improving and the economy started getting better, there are high chances most buyers will feel comfortable to invest into real estate, and that can eventually increase the housing price. And another thing for Californians, the Dream for All program, which made the news in 2023 and 2024, is returning again. They skipped this program in 2025 because of low budget or other issues happening around. They will be opening the files acceptance in the beginning of next year, and that program normally is very exciting for the first-time home buyers. If they're able to get into that program, is a big number, and which can qualify more buyers. But the other side of the coin is that only 2,000 to 3,000 people get selected for this program. Even though it does attract a lot of buyers get happy and excited and apply for that, but a small percentage of all those applicants would be able to get selected. But that is another thing happening in next year, might gonna attract more buyers to the market. What I have seen in the past, a lot of buyers who doesn't even want to buy a home get active, thinking they will get selected for this program and will get a benefited with that 20% down payment and will be able to buy a home. And even when they don't get that funds, they still end up buying the home because they are already out there looking for the homes, excited about a home, and their mindset changes. I have seen that happening in past, and it might gonna happen next year too. So that's another hope which might gonna see a little bit more percentage of at least first-time home buyers in next year, especially in California. So this is all what I think about 2026. I feel like the market is not gonna be a lot different than we have seen in past few years. The houses pricing might gonna be increasing a little bit or might not. Let's see how it works out, but I don't see a really big change happening next year. Hopefully I will be wrong. Hopefully the economic conditions get better really good, or hopefully we can see a bigger rate cut, so more buyers qualifying and a market improving. But the way it has been going, I just want to be conservative, because last 3 years I have been personally hoping that interest are going to come down, more buyers going to come in, but that hasn't happened. I don't see it happening in next year too, even though the interest is going to be improving by a little bit, but not going to make a big impact on the buyers, especially in the Californian market. Let's see how it goes. And like this video, I try to make similar videos for every month, where I discuss the data from the past month, especially in the Sacramento and cities around that, like Yuba City, Manteca, Lathrop, Roseville, Rockland, all those cities. That helps me to learn more about the local market and then help my clients to get the best deals, or to help my clients to list their homes at a best pricing so their home can be sold. That has been my strategy so far. And, we always have a data which we can study and see where the market is moving, and then can make our financial decision accordingly. I always try to create one video a month to explain all these things to my audience. So if they are planning to buy or sell, they can make an informed decision. It will be really helpful if you will subscribe to the channel, if you share my video. It takes a lot of time and energy to create a video like this, because a lot of data need to be researched. But I hope you like this video, and I hope to see you in my next video. Thank you. Take care.